And what about the two of you, being of the younger generation? How about some fresh insights from you guys?
So, like all across the East Coast, going to different conventions. And I think it's thanks to these conventions that are popping up all over that it makes it more accessible for everyone to go and enjoy. I mean, you don't have to be from a big city to go and buy your DVDs or your tapes from a vendor. I mean, there might be a convention right behind your backyard and you just don't realize it until advertisements come up, bands start making conventions, these types of events. And I think it's definitely thanks to these types of events that really reach out to everyone of all races.
Also, I think the college fan communities are a way that people understand better the anime, the Japanese culture, and that way it's not just our elders speaking down to us about a certain culture, it's us participating in a certain way in that culture, in a very unique way.
How are your parents taking this? How are they bewildered? Are they confused? I mean, what are their points of view? I'm just curious.
My parents think I'm nuts, and they say as long as it keeps you out of trouble and it seems like you're learning new things, so we don't really mind.
Unfortunately, my parents are totally against all this. So
Really?
yeah, they're completely anti everything that I've been participating in. So it's just me going out there alone.
Is there a particular reason why, or do you want to delve into it?
They just find it unnecessary as a hobby. So I mean, it's just I guess it's too out there for the generation.
Well, I mean, it's just like people in our parents' generation, crazy about rock and roll and Beatles, like that. People in the younger generations watching a lot of anime. It's just pop culture. So, back in the 1970s, some people started smoking marijuana and become a hippie and protest against Vietnam War. So that is exactly what they're doing now.
Minus the smoking.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
But this is very, very positive. But we're sending out a positive message to the get connected with the different people in all the communities all over the world. So the anime is a very peaceful and a global weapon to reach out to the communities.
Okay, last question. And how do you feel with these anime/Asian pop culture events that are beginning to take shape in the United States? In what way do you feel that it has an effect on the education arena in schools and studies? Because I'm beginning to see it myself. Can any of you give any testament?
Oh yeah. Well, one, you have kids that are taking it upon themselves to learn other languages. You got kids, today there were kids up on stage singing in Japanese and in their own. I've seen coming and going in New York, I saw a little girl go into a Japanese store and get excited because she saw Pocky and she recognized it from an anime show that she saw. So that's cross-cultural influence in a positive way. Kids are learning language, they're learning culture, they're learning things from other communities. They know where Japan is on a map. And people couldn't teach that in school.
That's quite a bit of a testament of our educational system right now. It's kind of sad.
Also, I believe it stems from the historical backgrounds. Like, for example, back in the 1970s, all the young people were in the sort of facing the uncertainty of the future. So it's just like American Graffiti on the Steven Spielberg's movies and all the stuff in the 70s pop culture. So again, all the college kids were just to get their parents what they say or study or they eat in this big property, so they don't care. So after I think it was 1976 before I was born, the America was actually lost the Vietnam War, and the Hotel California was released in 1977. It was a transitional period of it was a revolution. It was a transitional period of the American history. So during the transitional period, all the Japanese anime was introduced to America. So Godzilla came out in the major TV networks like NBC in the 1979. So what I was saying basically, okay, everybody was okay for them was number one. Like America, what they have seen was number one, but now they started to accept to reach out to the something new, outside their fields. So that's how they started to pay attention to Godzilla and the Japanese pop culture.
What about you two?
I think in the schools right now, I know we're trying to actually start up a Japanese anime society in our college.
And which college do you go to, may I ask?
There's a lot, personally, since we come from a Catholic university, right
Which
there.
school do you go to, may I ask?
St. John's University.
Uh-huh.
There's a bit of a barrier with it being a Catholic university, and reaching out to that particular group of people is kind of difficult. I mean, there's a stigma of it being not really educational, when actually it is a very cultural and educational thing, and an anime club, and we were able to sponsor ourselves to go using fundraisers, and it was a big deal in my high school, and I just want to bring that along with me to college.
What are some of the difficulties that you came across when trying to promote, bring up an anime club or anime culture club in St. John's University?
I just think getting people to understand what it is. Most of the kids at St. John's come from upper, higher class white families, which are very business oriented. They're there at school to get an education. And to say that this can be educational for you doesn't always connect. They connect it to the old stereotypes of the guy in his basement living with his mom, instead of an educational venture that could make learning a little bit more interesting for you.
What are some of the steps that you've gone or taken to basically convince the schools, whether be it successful or not, but what are just some of the examples that you have done to convince and say, hey, this is not just a fad, it's actually educational and cultural? What are some of the things that you've done?
In my high school, we haven't actually started up the club yet in our college, but in my high school, I came across a lot of roadblocks where it just, is this really educational? Is this club really necessary for a school? And I mean, in my club we taught basic Japanese, like hiragana, and how to count to like 20 in Japanese, and we didn't just watch anime and draw. I mean, we taught the students who were able to draw, taught other students how they could create their own works of art. So just very educated oriented to try and convince the schools that it is really good for the students.
So what's next for PJ Mini Pop? In the world of PJ Mini Pop, what's the next grand scheme of things?
Yeah, the PJ Mini Pop will keep sending out the positive messages through anime, through Japanese culture. So we'll never cease to do that. We are the missionary, you know. So we'll keep sending out to a lot of messages through anime to different racial groups and different cultural, different communities. Harlem, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, West Coast, Japan, Johannesburg, could be Portugal, France, all over the world. So we are going to reach out to the people all over the world through anime and introducing all the authentic Japanese culture and the sense of taste and taste of the pop culture, the food, so that people will be happy, people feel entertained, educated, have a sense of peace. So that's what we're going to do.
Words from anybody here? Final words? Going once, going twice.
Anime forever and PJ Pop along with it.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you very much.